Hey, welcome back, Rankers. Did you have a good Easter? Did you eat too much chocolate? No, I didn't. Got some great feedback on last week's show. But hey, 8,000% ROI? Yeah, why wouldn't you? This week, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Google authorship. I know you might think, authorship, I said. I know you think it might be a bit boring, but we've seen some interesting things recently. Google has two ways, basically, of allowing you to set up your Google authorship. And the first way is an easy way. The second way is a little bit trickier. We've found the easy way, though, is it doesn't seem to stick as much. It doesn't seem to work all the time like it's advertised. So I wanted to show you a little story today about a client who, this is their data, and Vandy, one of our account managers, has written a blog post about this particular case, and I'll just take you to that one. Oops, no, not that one. That's my blog post. I'll just go to the blog. So every Friday, one of our account managers or one of our dev staff is going to produce their own little case study, if you like. And this one is the first one, written by Vandana. And basically what happened was this. Now you can see travelling along nicely here with impressions, 8,600, 655 clicks for a day. And then all of a sudden, boom. And you can see you've gone from 650 clicks there to 30 clicks per day from Google. Now imagine what that could do to a business, right? It could kill you. And for this business, they were relying on impressions. They have an advertising model. And so you can imagine it was, there were some pretty nervous people over the course of, including us, over the course of, what's that, it's about 3 weeks, basically, where we couldn't work out what the problem was. And then we noticed that they changed something, but they hadn't told us what it was. And the thing that they changed was authorship. And I did audio engineering course 1,000 years ago, back in the 80s. And it was at the time when CDs had just come out. And yeah, I'm that old. And one of the things that the lecturers said to us at the time, if you're ever at a live gig and you're mixing a band and you press a button and all of a sudden you get a woo loud feedback loop, press that button again. That's all you have to do. And that's what we had to do in this situation. But we didn't know which button they'd pressed to fix the thing that had been broken. And it was just a really subtle change in the way that they'd mucked about with authorship. Now, I'm not saying that authorship has, if you go and get it done, you're going to go and rank high, and you're going to go and get all this traffic. But what I can tell you categorically in this situation, when we fixed their authorship up the way that it was meant to, all the rankings came back up. And this is a content-heavy site, so it's going to be different for every situation, every site, depending on how much content you have and how much of that content actually has authorship attached to it and all those sorts of things. But for this client, I can tell you, it had a direct impact on their business by not having it set up properly. So Google has these two ways of doing it. I'm going to read the article from Vanny. It's quite good. You'll see, I'll just show you their page, how they tell you to do it. So this is how they've got option one, which is the easy way. You just go to a page, you drop your email address in that's associated with the website, you get an email, you click on the verification link, you're done. And this is all connected back to your Google profile, right? The second option, which is a little bit trickier, involves a bit of code. And what this client had done is that they had followed the Google directions to the letter. And when I say to the letter, I mean that literally. Because instead, you've got to do this code here, right? Rel equals author, blah, blah, blah. This should actually be your name. They had the word Google in there. That actually should have been a person's name, but they had the word Google, so authorship was not working on their site. So the way that it looks like when you put your mouse over it, say in this situation, in Vandana's case, you can see we put the mouse over there, And you can see down the bottom here, it goes to a page called Author, Vandy. You go to that page and you can see here we've got plus Vandana Kumar. And you can see down there in that link, it actually links to her Google profile, but it says rel equals author. And then when we go to her profile, big Superman fan, you can see if you go to the About section that she contributes to Stuart Media. Okay, so that's pretty much the way that authorship works, the harder way. You've just got to set it up manually. But this structured data testing tool, which Google recommends that you use, and there's a link to it in that blog post that I just showed you, and there's a link to it from this page as well, it won't pick up those sorts of errors, right? Because it doesn't know that the word Google is not actually someone's name. It's not that smart. It doesn't have artificial intelligence to understand that they're just a series of letters grouped together and they could be anybody's name. But the structured data testing tool, basically on this occasion, because they were using it and they were checking the Google authorship, they said to us when we pointed this out to them, so no, look, it works. The structured data testing tool says it's all okay. It's like, no, but it's not. So our recommendation these days is not to use now, until we see any difference, is not to use this first option, option 1, which is just using the form to submit your email address in. It is actually to use the rel equals author in the links back to your Google profile, because we know that for sure that way works. And the good thing to know here is that if you see a big drop in traffic and you've done something recently to your website, usually if you go and put things back the way they were, you'll see the immediate jump back up of that traffic. Hopefully that's helpful, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.